So there was an intense Twitter debate about what is the greatest American rock band of all time. We tossed it to you and you put out some great suggestions. So we'll check in on some of those coming up. And we also want to talk about one of the greatest music photographers and remember her life. So that's all coming up. It is Monday. It's May 18th, and this is the Currents Music News. Hi, I'm Jade.
And I'm Jay. Photographer Astrid Kjerhair has died of cancer at age 81. You might not recognize her name, but if you're a Beatles fan, you might have had one of her photos hanging on your dorm room wall. She met the Beatles in 1960 when they were basically a bar band playing in Hamburg, Germany. She became close to the band. She even became engaged to Stuart Sutcliffe, who was then the Beatles' bassist. He copied her short hairstyle, and his bandmates then copied his. Thus was born the now iconic early Beatles short-haired, clean-cut look. The photos that Astrid Kjerhair took of the Beatles in the early 1960s are now regarded as the definitive photos of the band before they blew up. Stuart Sutcliffe left the band to pursue his art career, and tragically he died of a brain hemorrhage in 1962 in Astrid Kjerhair's arms. If you've seen the Beatles biopic from 1994, Backbeat, you've seen Astrid Kjerhair as a character played by the actor Sheryl Lee.
They met a woman who changed their lives.
This is Astrid. Astrid?
She's a photographer. You'd like her if you gave yourself the chance. She wants to take our photograph.
So, Lady Gaga. You have seen a lot of her lately. She's been one of the people at the forefront of this COVID-19 relief. She also, fell in love. So we've all been hearing a lot about that. But despite the love, karma has not been on Lady Gaga's side. The music and art from her postponed album, that got released early. And now a bunch of her legal documents are just dumped by hackers. And this is all part of this ransom scheme that these hackers have been doing and reaching out to various law firms. Well, now they're demanding $42 million, or they say they're going to release more documents from that same firm that holds the Lady Gaga documents. Who else are they working with? Madonna, Bruce Springsteen, Nicki Minaj, Lizzo, a ton of musicians and politicians. The list goes on and on. And so the law firm said, the leaking of our clients' documents is a despicable and illegal attack by these foreign cyber terrorists who make their living attempting to extort high-profile U.S. companies, government entities, entertainers, politicians, others. If you're really curious, you can look at Lady Gaga's legal documents right now, but we're hoping that the rest of those, they find some way to sort of counteract it so that we don't have to look through all the legal files of Lizzo and Nicki Minaj in the upcoming weeks here on the Currents Music News.
Singer-songwriter Nils Lofgren, who's been a member of Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band since the Born in the USA tour, is using his celebrity to shine light on what he calls the, quote, unconscionable and immoral and disgusting negligence of nursing homes in New Jersey. Lofgren and his family are suing a nursing home that used to house his mother-in-law. She's 83 years old, she suffers from dementia, and one cold night last month, police officers found her wandering confused 3 miles from her home. And then on top of that, a week later, she was diagnosed with COVID-19. She's now recovering, but Nils Lofgren says that New Jersey laws make it too hard to hold facilities accountable for this kind of neglect. He says that, quote, shining a light on this problem is important, and the Lofgren's attorney says he thinks this case is, quote, just the tip of the iceberg.
And earlier, we were talking about the greatest American rock band of all time. Well, this was kicked off on Twitter by Hank Azaria. Yes, the actor probably known best for his work with The Simpsons. But he started this debate because he said, all right, when we talk greatest rock band ever, what are the names that you think of? The Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin. But those are all British bands. So what about America? What is the best American band? Well, this drew flames, and Jay and I got excited for what you would think, and so we threw it out to you, and some really great suggestions came in. Let's see. Dre Day suggested old school, Beach Boys, new school, Nirvana. I agree with a lot of those. Dave Wilburn offered the Byrds, who were hugely influential. They pioneered folk rock and country rock as well as psych rock. Great idea there. Let's see, who else? Two of my faves, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and REM. REM's name actually came up a number of times. So did the Byrds. They got a couple of mentions. Username Tim argued Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, critical acclaim, commercial success, longevity, anthems, range, road trip music, lyrical depth, innovation. They had it all. You're not wrong there. And what did Hank Azaria say? He said, The Doors, followed by Aerosmith. Hank, I feel like some of the current listeners might be a little bit more on point.
It's a little basic.
What do you think, Jay?
Yeah. Well, actually, I looked this up to see what band I listen to most, because I'm a Last FM fanatic. And the American rock band that I have personally listened to more than any other, the Magnetic Fields. Thus, objectively, the best American rock band. Okay, what do you think, Jade?
You know what? I want some women in the mix. Like, where is Joan Jett and the Heartbreakers? That's some great rock and roll, so I think that's my pick.
Well, that's the Currents Music News. We will be back with another update, so like and follow us. You can be sure to catch it. You can listen to The Current in the meantime on your radio, on your smart speaker, on our web stream, and on our app. And click in the comments to let us know what music news stories are meaningful to you right now. Last week we talked about how hard it is, how much work it takes to assemble these music videos that are put together from a bunch of different remote performances. And the bigger the group is that's performing, the more work it takes. So in that regard, today's hero is John Aguilar, who's director of the marching band at Robert Eagle Staff Middle School in Seattle. This guy got 117 of his students involved in a cover of Lizzo's Juice. He said, quote, "It's an anthem for my students right now because of everything that has been canceled that they would have done at the end of the year. They still have the juice and they still have that drive to create music."
Lizzo was also a member of her marching band, an inspiration for Aguilar's students.
She has a huge presence on the line and stuff, and I think it's just sort of inspiring that she did come from like middle school all the way up to where she is now. I really hope she likes it and that we put in a lot of work for her, and I hope it sounds like her song.
She's a great artist, and she should really watch that video if she hasn't.